What is this place?
Hello. Good morning. All right, I got to adjust my microphone first thing right off because it's not in the right spot. All right, that's going to be a little bit better. I have a brand new setup today. The Twitch overlay layout is obviously different. There's a new camera. Hello to the new camera. I've been calling it the hands camera, but like this other camera also shows my hands. So yeah, I guess I'll keep calling it that for now until I think of a better name. And I'm in a slightly different setup. Like everything around me, my computer and my cameras and everything have all moved to a new desk. So it's going to be a little bit out of sorts while I try to figure out where everything is located. But what we're working on is the Astraea Type F. Last time, on Thursday last week, I believe it was, we finished up the torso and the head. We looked at the 4 different variants of the head, and I've settled on this one, which I think was called, this is the F2 type head. With the extra extensions on the V-fin, and it's the version with the translucent mask. I don't know if you can see that or not on the camera. Actually, I can show you on this camera as well now. That's something else I've got to get used to. So yeah, that's as far as we got last time. In the instructions up next are the arms and shoulders, and so that's what I'm going to start on today. And let's put this guy actually like right there. Then you can see him in that camera. Get him in focus. There. While I get organized with the next bits that we're going to need for the arms. And my runner box is in a different spot as well. So again, I've got to get used to finding stuff. All right, and weirdly, usually when you build arms on Gunpla, you build duplicate copies of things, but these instructions have us just building the right arm by itself. I guess the parts are different enough. There aren't like the upper arms, lower arms, etc. are not the same from left to right. So we're going to follow what the instructions say. And rather than building both arms sort of simultaneously, we're going to, looks like, build entirely one arm and then go back and build the other. So we need that U runner. I need a G runner. There we are. Adjusting the mic again and pulling my chair up closer so that I can actually be more in frame here with my trimming of these parts. Everything's in different places, so it's all, yeah, just a little out of sorts. All right, there we go. That feels better. Decided during the last stream, after seeing the part built, that this sort of tannish inner frame color is actually kind of nice with the red armor, but it still weirds me out looking at the runner. It's very strange to me to see an inner frame runner in this color. All right, let's get started just working with what we've got here. My computer monitor is flickering. I don't think it's a camera problem, because it's the entire monitor, not just the preview of the camera feed that's flickering. So maybe in my moving around of things to rearrange in here, to be able to set it up like I've got it now, I've got a loose cable or something. I will have to check that out later, but hopefully it survives at least long enough for us to do a bit of a stream this morning. Oh, that was smart. I just cut like a little part off of the actual nub instead of trimming it completely. One thing I've noticed already is that in my sort of rearranged space here, it's in the same room that it was before, but I'm facing a different direction. And so to my right over here, there is a window and I can see out the front of my house to like the street out front. And I feel like I'm going to be constantly distracted by people and cars and things going by. So if it seems like I'm pausing, not building, it's probably because I'm looking out the window. I will get used to that and stop doing it soon. Maybe. Probably. Hopefully. All right, 2 polycaps in this upper arm section. Yeah, that doesn't make sense at all. Let's put it the correct way. One thing I really like already about this new setup is that I am using my bigger computer monitor. It's probably hard to describe, but what I was doing previously was I had kind of a extension going on with my other monitor, or a spare monitor that I had picked up from a friend that was small, and it was run kind of around the corner of the room over to the desk where I was building. But now I've got my main computer set up right here with the desk that I'm building on, and so I've got a bigger screen. I can see more than just like the little OBS stream preview. I can see I've got other windows up and stuff, so that is nice. And everything is bigger, so I should be able to monitor things much better than I could before, which is nice. And it's probably something I'll get used to right away and then forget that it was a problem before, but today it feels really good to be able to see everything on a big screen. And of course, while talking, I forgot to put this piece in for the lower part of the elbow joint. There we go. So that goes in there. And this fell out. Oh, this goes here. And then it looks like it's going to attach. Yeah, this other piece is going to attach later on. No. Once again, I've put it backwards. Let's pay more attention. There we go. That's what I meant to do the first time. Right, so this piece kind of slides in this joint here, like so. Hey, Springer. Thanks for checking out the new layout. Yeah, I like it a lot. It's cool because like I can show stuff to you like this, although I guess I can't get it too close because the camera will get out of focus, but yeah, I can be like this or like this. So yeah, seems good so far. It's bugging me that I can't quite get the white balance and hue and everything on the two cameras to exactly match, because they're two different kinds of cameras. So I'll probably always be tweaking settings, trying to get the two cameras color-wise to match perfectly. But this was as close as I could get them for now. Yeah, lighting. Yeah, it's not just, well, yeah, besides lighting, it's just the, you know, I think that they're different cameras with different lenses, and so that's going to always be a problem too. Trying to train myself, because not only do I have this new layout, like the desk layout and everything is different, so everything's in a different spot for me. My runners are over here. I'm, yeah, all out of sorts trying to figure out where everything is this morning. It is Monday. I've forgotten. My last few days have been so weird that I've kind of lost track of what day of the week it actually is. So here I am looking at the instructions, trying to figure out if I need anything else off of this C runner, and it seems like no, so I'm going to throw it back in the box, and then like 2 minutes from now I'm going to learn that I should have pulled another part off of it. As has been the case everywhere else on this build, I am not putting the holographic parts in, at least not yet, because I want to take this thing back apart and paint it later on. So normally there would be a holographic part in the back side of this arm, but not today. And now we get to choose between type F and type F2 arms, forearms. And I'm just looking at the instructions to see if I can figure out what the difference is. Yeah, they're not that different. I'll actually just cut out both sets of parts and we'll look at both, and then I'll decide again, like we did with the head, which one I like better. So these are the standard Astraea forearms. Hey Springer, if you're still here, I'm pretty sure that back when we recorded that episode of Gun Plus Knobs, this kit had just been announced and we like talked about it briefly because it was like the announcement that week. Is that true? Am I remembering that correctly? Yeah, I thought so. So all this time later, now I get to build it. The weapon loadout looks insane as far as like the number of things. I was just looking through the instructions the other day, and it has like all of the Astraea sword style weapons, blade style weapons. And then additionally, it has all of these other guns. It looks like it has the missile pods from Kyrios, and then it has the hand pistols from Dynamis, and then a couple of other larger beam rifle style things of its own. So I'm looking forward to, like, this just feels like a standard master grade Astraea style build right now. But once we finish the actual mobile suit itself, I think that the weapon loadout is going to be more fun. Usually I'm feeling sort of burnout fatigue by the time I get to the weapons on a kit. But this one I think is going to be opposite. It's going to be the best part of the build. All right, so here's the Type F style arm. This is the forearm part of it. It is this same piece that normally goes on the Astraea's forearm, but without the clear green part in the circle there. And instead you get this inner frame tan colored sort of plug piece that fits in like this to fill that in. So you get this style. And then the F2 type arm has the normal green clear part in there instead. And of course they give you a foil sticker to go on the back side of that to try to make it show up a little nicer. So yeah, let's just leave it like this for now, and I will set that clear part off to the side. Just for the sake of, it looks a little bit different than the standard Astraea build. So that's what we'll do. And I realize that now I have mixed Type F and Type F2 because the head that I decided on over here is the Type F2 head. And this is the regular Type F arm, but I'm building it, so I get to choose. So there we go. I'm not sure where the nub pile should go in this new setup. I'm going to drop it up here in the top right hand corner under that other camera. How about that? Any plans for the build? Well, no, not specifically yet. I'm gonna paint it not red. I know that for sure. Not that I dislike the red. I just want something different, and I do like all of the like the pointy bits and fins, and there's a lot of detail on the kind of the extra fin parts that they've added, like these ear parts up here and these things on the back. So I don't know, it feels like there's a lot of good little mechanical detail bits to pick out, and they would show up better, or, you know, look nicer in my opinion, if they weren't all just this same monochrome red. So I might paint it, recolor it like a lighter armor color, like a light gray or tan or something like that, to allow opportunity to pick out some of those details. That is my current idea, but typically I decide on these things as I build. I don't tend to envision well ahead of time. I like to actually you know, build the thing and hold the thing in my hands, and then decide, make final decisions about paint and other things like that. So and in any case, it will go at the very end probably of my painting backlog, which has a lot of other projects already in it, so I don't imagine that I'll get to it anytime real soon. But the point of these streams has been to force myself to build my backlog, which was getting a little bit too big. So at least this way it gets built and it gets put in a display cabinet or back in the box or wherever it fits. But then, you know, I have it built already by or when I get around to being ready to paint it. One thing I've been thinking about, and trying to convince my wife is a good idea, is probably the best way to describe this, is trying to build myself out like a little studio slash build area in my garage. And to do that, because I live in a hot place, would definitely require like walling off a little section of the garage so that I could air condition that space. Because I'm not sitting out there working with the heat that we get here during the summer. So if I can manage to do that, then I would have a build space with my airbrush space right there next to it. And then for these streams, or for just like when I'm out there working, it's easier to jump back and forth between painting and building. And I feel like I would get a lot more of my paint backlog finished if I actually had that type of a setup. Because right now I have to, plan to go out to the garage to paint. And I can't do it for too long at once because it gets too hot. So yeah, that is in the longer term future. I'm hoping to have this whole space that I'm sitting in right now moved out of my work office that's in my house, out into a little studio space in the garage. We'll see if I can make that happen. And now that I've talked about it, it should happen, right? I should figure out how to make that happen. All right. This is back to our standard sort of 3-finger, 1-finger style hands with the separate trigger finger. Right? Yeah, the more I talk about it too, the more I like think about the details of how it will work. Like I just, I said, the plan is to build some walls in the garage. Well, I've been like going out there from time to time and just standing in the space and looking around, trying to figure out, will this work? Will it fit? Is it something I can actually do? And the more I think about those things, the more I convince myself, yes, it is definitely a doable project. So we'll see if I can make it happen. There's one more thing. There's a wrist joint. There it is. This tan color for the inner frame of this kit is still weirding me out. It's very strange to see an inner frame runner in this color. It looks good on the kit though, once you get it all together. It's just different for sure. All right, Springer, have a good day. Let's see, we need a back of a hand, don't we? Now we can build this hand. So here's the thumb. Then 1 finger and 3 fingers. Just looks like your standard 00 hand. And let's go put it in here. Yeah, that always happens to me. The wrist joint bends up out of the way when you're trying to insert the ball joint into the right spot. There we go. And so that is the arm, without the shoulder, of course. It wants me to build the left arm next, so this will be a bit repetitive here. Let's throw his arm here. Learning how the cameras work, there we go. All right, let's get that left arm. Reminder to my future self that if I do end up building some sort of separate build space, that when I'm planning that, I should build in some sort of a, or not build in, but like develop for myself some sort of a better system for organizing and stacking runners so that I am spending less time digging through piles of parts. Not that it's really bad the way I've got it now, but I could be more efficient for sure. I'm looking over the instructions to figure out what parts I need, but like, I can just look at the runner and know, so why not just do that? Let's do that. And while we're here, let's just grab the parts we're gonna need for the hand as well. So that one, this one, the wrist joint. Yeah, that is weird and is freaking me out that my monitor does keep flickering. Probably just a loose cable from moving stuff around. So I will fix that later. We need this. And I believe that is everything off of this runner. Yeah, seems good. It is Monday morning for me. If you're watching this live, I hope you had a good weekend. If you're watching it later, I hope you're having a good day whenever you're watching. My weekend was pretty relaxing, which is nice for a change. Didn't have a lot to do. Didn't have any like family stuff or places we had to go or anything like that. So I spent some time playing around with this Twitch setup, of course. The stream, the cameras, all that stuff. Also spent some time working on doing some 3D printing design work. Maybe I'll show that off when it's finished. I got my family got me actually for Father's Day, a new little portable handheld retro game console thing. And I enjoy it a lot. It's super fun. But what I've been doing is working on designing a custom snap-on case to protect the screen so that I can just throw it in my pocket and carry it around with me without fear of scratching the screen. And so I have something that's very close to working. I need to fix a couple of fit issues. I want it to snap on and off just perfectly. So I've gone through a couple of different iterations of that, and each time I go to print it, it takes a little while to print. So spent some time over the weekend doing that. It was fun. All right, so the nub pile grows, and I need 2 polycaps before we build this other arm. So we need this one and this one. Actually, we need this one as well for the wrist. So we'll grab it 2. All right, shoulder joint. Connector for the upper arm. Sandwich those together. It's like we've done this before. Just a few minutes ago. Maybe I can actually do this part without having to disassemble it 4 times because I put things in backwards. Hey, look at that, I've done it. First try. All right. And next page in the instructions. I should devise a better instruction holder as well. The current setup is a little bit just hard to deal with. Nothing else on that runner. All right, so once again, as with the other side, I will cut out all the parts, but then I'm gonna build the Type F version of the forearm. What else? There's this that we're not going to use, but I'm going to cut it out anyway. And I'll just, well, we'll trim the nub and then I'll put it over there with the other one. And what else? We've got the wrist part and we got the main armor part, so I think we're good. Oh, another thing I did this weekend, and I should probably tweet about this to let people know. On the Gunplay Gallery website, I added a feature now where it's for premium Bandai kits like this one. If you're in the US, well, no matter where you are, but it's only useful to you if you're in the US probably. It grabs info from the US P-Bandai website, so it knows and lists in the kit catalog for kits like this one. It lists the price, the retail price at P-Bandai's US website, and keeps track of stock information so you can see whether any of those P-Bandai kits are in stock or not. So definitely later today, I should tweet out on the Gunplay Gallery website, or Twitter account, I mean, link to some example pages so people can go check that out. So you can see if you're interested in a specific premium Bandai kit, you can check that out and keep track of pricing and stock information and stuff. It's also grabbing the product photos from there. So a lot of those premium Bandai kits that did not used to have product photos in Gunplay Gallery's kit catalog now do. So that's cool. Turned out to be a pretty simple change, so that was nice as well. See, I knew I missed a part. It's the back of the hand. That's the other thing I needed. When I was holding this runner a few minutes ago, I was thinking, what other part do I need? I know there's one. This was the one. All right, let's build this hand. I should actually build it on camera. That would be smart. finger does not want to go. The ball joint does not want to stay. There we go. And the 3 fingers. I guess technically if you wanted to, you could cut those 3 fingers apart and make yourself a fully articulated, like individual fingers move type hand. I feel like that would be a bad idea because the fingers would just be going everywhere. I'm one of those people that actually prefers the fixed posed hands with the swappable fingers most of the time, because I just think they hold up better over time. And they're less fiddly. There's less messing around with them to try to get the pose you want. All right, let's put this in here. And we'll put this forearm, or the upper arm part, onto the forearm. There we are. So 2 arms. 2 arms. Yep, they look fine. They're standard Gundam Exia style arms, if you've built those before. Nothing real different here other than this one piece on the outside of the arm that fills in that spot where there's usually the clear green piece. With this little bit of mechanical detail. I assume that this is a hard point that you can attach something to in the future as well, maybe some sort of weapon or shield. I guess we will see. Although typically those are done right here on the front of the arm. So we'll wait and see what happens there. All right, what is next? Shoulders are super simple on this kit. So let's just put the arms here and build the shoulders. They are literally just like 4 pieces each, looks like. So here's the part that attaches to the arm. Or, I mean, to the torso. And then these 2 parts here are the actual shoulder. And I guess this one as well. It's the top of the shoulder. Yep, so let me grab those for the other shoulder. This looks like the center of some kind of shield that I'm looking forward to seeing completed, because every time I pull this runner out of the box, I think, hey, that's a kind of cool, sleek, detailed shape. I like it. So that's going to be a fun part of the build later on. All right, and this is literally the entirety of the shoulders. My brain always gets slightly confused when I'm trimming nubs off a part and there were only two. These shoulder parts, I don't know if you noticed when I cut them off the runners, but there were only two connection points to the runners. Almost every part has three, at least larger size parts like these. So yeah, when I'm trimming nubs and I only get two and then I'm looking around for that third one and don't find it, I'm always like, wait, what's going on? And then I have to remind myself that that part only had two. It's probably just a byproduct of the style that I usually build, where I cut a bunch of parts out and then trim the nubs all together. I get in this groove of, I'm in nub trimming mode now, and every part has three nubs, which is not always the case. All right, so these shoulders are, like I said, super simple. This part goes in here. Oh, that makes more sense then. These are the outer bits, and there are two other parts that sandwich in for the inner armor. That makes a lot more sense. As I was cutting those out, I was like, wait, why are there no inner armor parts for these shoulders? Here they are. Or I said inner armor, I meant an inner frame. Learn how to speak. See, now these parts do have three nubs each. So my poor brain will be less confused. Build these now. You know, it's really strange to me, and I don't know if the camera is going to show this or not. I think it kind of does. So this runner, that's this sort of tannish inner frame color that I've been talking about periodically, is not exactly the same as this. So these are slightly different shades of tannish gray. In person you can definitely see it. I don't know if the cameras are correctly with the lighting able to pick that up, but especially as I put them together here, right next to each other, I noticed it right away that those are not the same color. Interesting. I don't know if they're meant to be or not. I mean, I would think that they were meant to be the same color. They're just slightly different. All right, so these go on like so. Of course, it'd be awesome if I lined them up correctly. There we go. It's meant to be that way? Okay. Good to know. Yeah, as I was pulling the runners originally out of the box, I thought that those were the same color. Like I said, I did not notice the difference until I just held the parts right up next to each other. All right, super simple shoulder number 1 is done. since we were talking about colors, one thing I've noticed with both of these cameras, and like I mentioned earlier, they're two different cameras, but both of them reproduce the red really pretty incorrectly, in my opinion. It seems real bright on the camera when I see the camera preview. Maybe not that one as much. But yeah, this red is definitely not such a bright red in person. It's a bit more sort of muted, it's a little bit more toward the bluish end of the color spectrum. So it's certainly not purple, but it's got more of a sort of salmon purple sort of tone to it. The RG or HG version of this Astraea, I do not. I build primarily master grade kits, some RGs, but I did not get this RG. I assume the colors are similar, or the plastic they used color-wise is similar between those three. All right, let's build or put together these arms. I missed a part. Let's find that first. All right, I have to say, I'm pretty impressed with myself that as soon as I noticed that part was missing, I immediately knew which runner to go get it off of, without looking at the instructions. So, yay me. All right, there we go. Now let's put the arms on. Yeah, I have in my collection super detailed and painted up versions of the other 00 kits, not the Astraea. And actually Virtue is it's built but not all painted up yet. It's partly worked on, and I haven't showed any pictures of it yet, but my Dynamis and Curios I really, really enjoy, and I've been holding out for a 2.0 version of an Astraea, because I've built the original Master Grade Astraea, which is obviously very similar to this. It uses a lot of the same runners, and it's okay. It's not great though. So I would really like to have a new Astraea. So I agree. This release could have been better, but they haven't done a 2.0 Astraea yet. I was kind of hoping for one shortly after the other 00 kits, and it just hasn't happened. So I start to think maybe they're not going to do that, or they're going to wait a while. And I don't know. I would like to have one soon, but it doesn't seem like that's happening. Maybe if I say that, I'll be wrong. That would be nice. This arm is having trouble going on tightly, and I don't want to break anything, but I also want it to be nice and snug. There we go. Still a little more. All right. So there's the upper half of this Astraea. Speaking of a potential Astraea 2.0 and it not happening yet, my other plan, which I haven't looked in detail into yet, but I think is possible, would be to get an extra Dynamis, probably, because that's the easiest one of the new 00 kits, I think, to find. And then using the inner frame from that, along with the outer armor from this, the original Exia. And obviously there would be modifications required, but I feel like I could probably do those to make myself sort of a 2.0-ish Exia that uses the new inner frame and still looks like Exia. So eventually, if Bandai never releases a 2.0 Exia in the next year or so, I will probably just do that. Make my own. Yeah, that's basically what I'm talking about. Just Kit Bash 1. Having built the original Master Grade Exia and then also having built Dynamis and Curios and Virtue, as I was working on those, I was thinking, yeah, this is definitely a possible thing you could do. I mean, yeah, that would be the problem, right? Then that's almost certainly what would happen. I would start working on it. I would get like most of the way through, and then they'd be like, oh, here's one. It's coming out next month. Perfect. All right, so let's do this. If I bend his elbows, he can sit here and face the new camera. Yeah. There we go. Is that in focus? Might have to back up a little bit to be in focus. I don't know. Yep, it's been fun so far, the build, I guess. I mean, having built Master Grade Exia, it's not that much different. They did give you variants or parts, to make the 2 different variants of or actually 4 different variants of the head and 2 different variants of the forearms. So that was nice, but they're not really that much different. It's just like 1 or 2 parts are different. Let's see, what time is it? I have some more time. I'm going to take a very short break because I need a drink. And I'll be back and we'll work on some legs because that is what's next. So I'll be back very shortly. Yeah, so just ignore the timer. It wasn't at 0. I don't care. I'm back. I grabbed a chai tea. Iced chai tea. Tasty. All right. And yes, as far as the multiple variants, you can make them. The instructions show them. And if you are a purist and look at what I've built so far, you might notice that I'm using I've decided on the type F2 head, which is the one with the extended V-fin that's got the little yellow bits on the end of it. However, I've chosen the type F, not F2 arms, because I liked how they looked better. So yeah, my version is not an official version. It's a mix of the two so far, and I reserve the right to continue making those choices as we go along because it's my build. So yeah. Feet are next, and then legs, looks like. I'm gonna put these runners away because I don't think we need them. All right, and we are gonna make the feet in pairs, like both of them at the same time. Hopefully that will save a little bit of time. Not that I'm in a huge hurry, but also like the weapons loadout on this thing looks great, and so I'd like to get to that sooner rather than later. But I'm going to build it in order as the instructions say, so no skipping ahead just yet. I'm just like making assumptions about what parts are needed, and I stopped to look at the instructions and make sure I'm actually correct. Because I guess with these, you never know, like maybe there's a different toe part on a different runner that they've, added because this kit is a variant. But nope, the feet are exactly the same as the Exia feet looks like. They use all of these same parts. Anything else here? I don't think so. I need these two, right? Yeah, for sure. All right, what else? These two joints. And that should be all. All right, I'm out of random ideas of things to talk about while trimming nubs. So this session might be done in silence. Which weapon set are you thinking about? Yeah, I think I agree with you. For me as well, I spend a lot of time on the mobile suit itself, and I'm never quite sure what to do with, hey, we got to see one of those new Twitch alert notifications. Cool. Hey, thanks for the follow as well. It has been a pretty fun build so far. But yeah, back to Springer, what you were saying about detailing up weapons. With my 00 series kits that I detailed up, my Dynamis and my Kyrios specifically, I actually tried to carry over some of the coloring onto the weapons themselves. So there's, like, if you look at the photos I posted of those kits specifically, there's some of the Dynamis green or some of the Kyrios orange in their weapons as well. But besides that, I tend to not have good ideas as far as when it comes to detailing up weapons. So yeah, practicing on that does sound like a good idea. We could actually here, let me I gotta grab my keyboard a second here. I pushed it over here out of the way. Because I just realized I could show off another new trick that I have here. Let's see if it works. Hey, look at that. So yeah, I can jump over here to Gunplay Gallery and show you what I meant. See if I have any pictures that are closer up of these weapons. Maybe I do. Maybe I didn't take separate pictures of the weapons themselves. Oh yeah, so here's one of the sort of hand pistol weapons for Dynamis. So yeah, I tried to do this sort of thing with the carrying the green up onto the weapons, for example. So yeah, these are examples of the most I've ever done on detailing up the weapons on this Dynamis, which his sniper rifle as well. Hard to see because I don't have a good photo of it anywhere, but it's got some of that as well. So yeah, I did that with those builds. Where's Kyrios? Here he is as well. And I don't have a good shot of the missile pods themselves, but it was the same sort of idea with those. Yeah, because otherwise I don't know what to do with weapons, right? I mean, you can just make them inner frame gray or, you know, gunmetal or whatever. But yeah, I'm always looking for ideas of cool stuff to do with weapons. Anyway, back to building, and that's cool because I got to try out the new web browser view. So thanks for asking a question that prompted me to do that. This isn't the first of this darker red we've seen on this kit, right? Yeah, that's true. It was around on the chest as well. Now is probably a good time to point out again that these cameras are capturing this red as a much brighter shade of red than it actually is in real life. So I haven't been able to adjust them to exactly capture the shade that it is. It's definitely more muted than the super bright that you're seeing on the camera. Will I sand? Yes. I typically snap build a kit and see it built, and then I disassemble it and I sand it before I paint it. I sand the individual parts before I paint them. So, yes. And so I'm also always thinking when I'm snap building, for example, with these two parts here, and this happens a lot with feet, I want to make sure that that's easy to take apart. So sometimes I will trim the pegs to make it easier to take apart, but as I look at this, that's not going to be hard to push apart anyway. So, but yeah, those are things I'm always thinking about as I'm building, because I want to make it easier for my future self to be able to do the next steps, which are to take this apart and prepare it for painting. I do have the avalanche dash. It's sitting over there to the side. And when we finish building this, whenever that is, a couple streams from now, it looks like, based on progress, I will do that next. So yes. And I never did build the avalanche unit for the Exia. So for me, that will be a new build. Whereas this one, you know, because it's based on the Exia, does feel like something I've already done before. What is my sanding order? I'm not sure exactly the question or what you're asking. Oh, what grid? It depends on the part, but usually I sand with about 400 or 600 grit to start with, and then I smooth it down to like 800 or 1000. And I find that I don't have to go much finer than that, because when I go to prime, the primer fills in and smooths out anything else, you know, any little scratches that might be left over. Of course, sometimes I will prime and then find imperfections that I want to then go back and sand out. And I'll do that sometimes as well. Fingernail's the best tool for sanding. You know, it's funny. I think that my favorite tool, like of any tool that I find indispensable for gunpla building, besides nippers, of course, which are kind of necessary, but my favorite multi-purpose tool is the toothpick. I use it a lot to like push things into place, or you know, make little, sometimes you can, you know, do a little bit of detail painting with the end of a toothpick. Yeah, so I always have a little box of toothpicks sitting nearby. Although having rearranged my build area just this weekend, I realized that right now I do not have any toothpicks nearby. So, you know, if I find a need for a toothpick, I'm in huge trouble because I don't have one. But yeah, fingernails are good for helping out with stress marks. Oh, I needed all 4 of those polycaps. They actually have you, I don't know if I can show the camera this correctly without it just completely falling apart, but they have you stack 2 of these next to each other here in the toe section of the foot. So I will have to go back and get the other 2 for the other foot. I mistakenly thought I just needed the 1 per foot. It's another one of those spots where I'm thinking about, do I need to trim this to make sure that I can disassemble it? But it's fine because there's a gap right here that I can get a part separator into. Yeah, right. But I mean, then they can use a polycap runner that they've already printed before, so it makes sense. It's just funny that you need two of them next to each other. It makes sense, I think, for them to design, especially polycaps, so that they're all just standard sizes for the most part. Because then they can reuse them and just, you know, manufacture the rest of their kits such that they always know that polycaps of certain sizes will work. But yeah, I guess they needed more. That was for this joint here, that sort of rotates the foot side to side. And they probably just decided they needed more structure in there than a single polycap would provide. All right, there's a foot. Let's actually fix it so that it sits flat. There. Grab those other two polycaps that we need. Does anybody else get as excited as I do when you get one of the newer kits, you know, that's been produced in just the last couple of years? I guess any grade, master grade, high grade, whatever, and you open the box and there are no polycaps in there. It's like one of my favorite things. Yeah, exactly. Post 2019 is about when they finally figured out, yep, that they could forego the polycaps and still have the structural foundation that they need for the joints. And that's again why we need a 2.0 version of the Astraea, because this could be based on that if it existed. Let's try to fix this a little bit. It looks like there's a gap right there. All right, that's better. Two feet. We'll put one sideways and one, let's go like that. Yeah, it might be the scale of the PG Unleashed. But I mean, to be fair, there were just those two big advanced MS joint parts, one for each leg. And then they were completely covered up by more structural things. So, yeah, maybe they did it just because they thought, hey, it looks cool and the people will be impressed when they open the thing up to build it and see that thing. I feel like it was probably needed for the structure and stability of the legs. That was a super enjoyable build though, that PG Unleashed. I enjoyed it for sure. And mine is still just snap built down in my cabinet. I have not ever taken that thing back apart to paint it, although I probably will at some point. It's a lot of pieces. All right. I have like 30 minutes till I have to stop for today to get on to my next thing. So let's see how far we can get, I guess, with a right leg. I mean, this is just basically an Astraea leg. And I've built that a couple times at this point, so I can probably do it fairly quickly. We'll see how far we get. Still makes me sad every time I see these Astraea inner frame parts, especially for the leg, having built the Dynamis and the newer versions basically of this same frame. This one looks just so much outdated, so far outdated. Construction tech has gotten better and molding tech has gotten better, so yeah. Yeah, I'm looking at the runner. It does not have a year designation on it, so hard to know for sure. But yeah, weird choices, right? So like this piece here, or one half of kind of the upper thigh above the knee, they molded that in, and then they give you this part here to sandwich on the other side. Certainly a more modern kit would have done that differently. Like this wouldn't be part of this part, it would be separate. So yeah, things like that make me sad. Yeah, and like this knee joint, it's just, yeah, sad. It's funny too, because it snaps together. This peg here, that's like the main central pivot point for the knee, is actually like a Lego, it's almost like a Lego Technic style connector. I don't know if you can see that or not, but it's got like the little slot molded in it so that it can press together and then snap out, and it's got these two little slightly protruding pieces there that will catch on the backside. So yeah, this is Lego construction for sure. So you push this together and it snaps in place just like so. Yeah, definitely a different style of construction than what they've done recently. Let's do this side first. It'll be easier. All right, there we go. But we do have like a tiny bit of like a sort of sliding armor gimmick in here where the upper thigh bends. So, you know, there's something. All right. And that is the extent of the complexity of the inner frame of this leg. All right, I'm gonna do just one step of the instructions instead of looking ahead, and the reason is I have to turn the page after this step. So normally I would have cut a lot more pieces than that. However, we'll just do this and turn the page. Okay. All right, so since this is a brand new sort of rearranged setup of my cameras and my layout and all of that stuff, you guys that are watching, please let me know if things look like they're in focus, if they're bright enough, if the colors look okay. I tried to match the two cameras as best I could so they look similar, even though they're different cameras, and that was hard to do. So if you've noticed anything with the cameras or the layout or anything like that, please let me know, because I will probably go back and watch little sections of this to make my own assessment, but I want to make any tweaks for next time. Because I don't know if you've ever tried to stream with a camera on autofocus, but what I found is that it was always trying to refocus and it was just super annoying. And so I've fixed the focus on all of these cameras, on both of these cameras. And then I've tried to focus them so that they cover sort of the main, in this case, vertical area where I work, or in this case, the main forward back area where I work, so that things hopefully stay in focus. Cool. All right, so as has been the situation with all of the other sections of this Astraea, we get to choose between the Type F or the Type F2 variant for this kind of knee area of the leg. And I mean, they call it a variant, but is it really? I'll show you. So the two choices are, let me grab the rest of these parts. That's not the one we need. This is the one we need. All builds look the same. It is true. Yeah, you're right. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and cut out these two smaller clear parts because they would have been used in the alternate version of the arms. So I'm gonna drop these parts over there with the leftover arm parts that we didn't use. So it is true that all builds look the same, probably, if you're watching live, but that leads me to this question, which is, if I were to stream something that wasn't a build, like, for example, a scribing or detailing session, that would look a little bit different. And would that be something that would be different enough or interesting enough for you to want to watch? Because I could do that, but I'm concerned actually that I would be less able to talk or, you know, respond to chat or whatever if I'm doing something like scribing or detailing, because I tend to be a lot more focused on what I'm trying to do there, and I wouldn't look up that often. All right, so now we're to the point where I can show you that in the case of this leg, the difference between the Type F and the Type F2 is both of them get this. This is the inner side of the leg will be plugged with this. And I'm thinking for my future self, is that going to be a problem for disassembly, but it'll probably be fine. And then the other side out here, the Type F version is literally just leave it like this. There's nothing that fills in this circular gap. And then the F2 version gets, you know, as you would expect with Astraea, the clear bit and the green transparent bit in there. So that's the difference. But since we left the green transparent GN drive part out of the arms, we're going to do the same thing, at least for now. Yeah, as far as disassembling this, yeah, that you're right. It's not a problem because you take this part out and you can get it from the backside. And if you can't, like, you know, the backside is solid like this, for example, because it's the same part on the opposite side. You can always drill a tiny hole if you need to push through, because you're always going to cover it back up. But I think even if you don't make a hole, there's an edge that you can get to. I don't want to disassemble and show you, but there's, like, on this side here, there's a little edge you could get to, even without drilling a hole. Yeah, I've heard about people using those cell phone disassembly tools. I guess because they're plastic, right? So you have less danger of gouging your part. Right. Yeah. Yeah. The separator I have has a metal blade, but it's a nice thin, sharp one. And so if you're careful with it, if you've practiced with it as much as I have at this point, I'm pretty confident about being able to disassemble things without messing them up. I feel like I'm missing one part. It is this one here. Actually, you know what? Let's grab these as well. For the front of the leg. All right, so the plan, I think, looking at my clock, is going to be, let's finish this leg. And then hopefully sometime before the next stream, I will have some time and I can just build the other leg off stream, because I want to get moved on to the more exciting bits of the build. And I think I should manage to have some time tomorrow to build that other leg, especially given the small number of parts. See, I think of a master grade leg as being a complicated thing with, especially inner frame, lots of parts. In this case, it is not that. And another very large polycap for the upper leg joint where it goes into the hip. I mean, maybe that would be a nice full mechanics kit, but also I feel like they have enough other mobile suits that they haven't even made a first version of that they'd probably want to do before that. We're going to leave out the holographic part again. This is really strange on this. On the front of the leg, there's no like outside half of this bit of inner frame. And so the holographic part that would normally go into this rectangular cutout here would sort of cover up like the ugly mess that's left behind here. But it certainly doesn't cover the whole thing. And the back part that goes on here sort of fills it in, but not entirely. So that's interesting. Yeah, you're right. Officially, I guess Full Mechanics. That series has 2 kits. I tend to think of sort of all of the 1/100 scale kits. They all fall into the same category in my mind, the ones that are not master grades. So like the RE100s and things like that, I think of them as being that in that same series as the full mechanic, which is, I realize, not correct, but yeah, in my mind there's anything that's 1/100 scale that's not a master grade is all kind of the same. I think the full mechanic Raider kit has started to appear. I think Zaku Aurelius did a live build stream of it maybe last week or the week before. So it might become available shortly at some US retailers, I think, finally. I did enjoy the Calamity, so I will probably try to pick that up at some point. The Raider. Right, there's the IBO full mechanics and the other full mechanics. Yeah, well, it's Bandai, right? They have their main lines: master grade, real grade, high grade, whatever. But then every once in a while they come up with this new idea, like even Perfect Grade Unleashed. Like, are we ever going to see, was that a series or was that just a one-off thing that they called that? And, you know, until they release a second one in the series, I'm going to choose to believe that it was just like, that's the name they chose for marketing that one kit. I guess we'll see if they ever release anything else that's labeled Unleashed. But it's fine. I'm not going to complain as long as they keep releasing kits. They can call them whatever they want. If they're made well and they're fun to build, I will build them. All right, so since we didn't add the green clear part here, which would have been the F2 variant, that allows us to now put this in here to fill in this gap. And it's not wanting to fit nicely, so I will force it in here carefully, and then I will turn it so the camera can see it. There we go. All right, so yeah, similar to what we did on the arm here, where this bit here covers up that round area where the green clear part would be. Same deal on the leg. And again, it looks like maybe this is a hard point to mount something later. We'll see. All right, I guess we need to build a hip joint and some ankle armor. Yeah, the MGEX Strike Freedom. So the thing about that for me is, like, if I paint my kits anyway, why do I need that one? And I think the answer is I don't. And so I probably won't get that one. I didn't get the MGEX Unicorn either, to be fair. Although it does look like a nice kit. That's true. You could buy like airbrush and a spray booth and all of those things. Then you'd be good to go. So I think, I'm trying to remember, I think the only Strike Freedom I've ever built was the real grade one. And for being one of those like older real grades, you know, that had the special, we'll call it special inner frame, it's not too terribly bad. Like, I haven't moved it around a lot, but it's held its pose okay. Yeah, see, that's dedication. It's one of those mobile suits you have to have, I guess. So I forgot, since the last time that I built this master grade XE8 inner frame, the hip joint is really strange because it has this sort of foldable extending bit that comes out the outside of the hip so that you can attach the some of the weapons and things there. So the hip is almost more complicated than any of the other inner frame bits anywhere else on the leg, which is strange to me, but that's how they did it. It also means that the hips are not universal, like they're not the same from left to right, because this little hinge part folds in the opposite direction for the one on the other side. And so I remember when I built my Astraea, the first time I got the two hip sides like swapped when I put them on the legs, and then I couldn't figure out later on why I couldn't get the swords to attach as I wanted them to. Right, so that goes in there. I can't actually demonstrate how this pulls out until I finished the other half of it because it will fall apart. All right, so this is easier to do once it's on the kit, but this part pulls out and then this folds around, and then you have this point here to mount something onto. I think it's way more complicated than a hip joint needs to be. But there we are. All right, let's build the ankle joint real fast. I have to go, but I refuse to stop building at a weird spot like this, so we will finish this leg. Oh, it's probably certainly OCD. Let's go with that. Just one more piece. That is the thing, right? Well, see, the problem is if I stopped like here and then I went on with my day. I would come back here later and I'd be like, I have to finish that foot. Like, I've put that foot on that leg, so it is finished. So if I'm gonna do that later today, I might as well just do it now. All right, here we go. At least there's not a screw that goes in here. This like totally feels like one of those super old master grade style joints where you'd sandwich those two things together and then they'd ask you to put a screw in right in that space there. All right, there's a specific top here. Which way is it? That goes down. Okay, got it. So ankle joint, leg, yeah, it is basically just an Exia leg, right? Nothing special here. I should put this the other way so that this is the outside of the leg. Yeah, other than this one piece here, this is exactly the master grade Exia leg. It has the weird super wide or super far apart double jointed knee with nothing really here as far as like the armor sort of separates, but there's just this piece that's left hanging out here in the air. Yep. Seen all this before. It's still nice. It's okay. It's serviceable, let's say. Yeah, cool. All right, I will probably finish the other leg off stream so that next time we can do something more interesting than build another leg. And that more interesting thing will be, looks like, the waist unit, which has a couple variants to it and some new parts. And then on to the weapons loadout after that. So that should be fun. Maybe 2 more streams. So like Wednesday, Thursday this week, and we'll actually be able to finish all of this, including all of its weapons. I don't know. I'm having trouble estimating how long the weapons will take, given that there are so many of them. Yeah, it's true, but also I have a big backlog of kits, and the idea of streaming is to get through my backlog. So if we run out of kits to build, I think it'll be a while before that happens. So yeah, I'll think about it. Maybe I'll build the other leg on stream, but probably I'll build it separately first. All right, I'm gonna be done for now. Thanks for stopping by and hanging out, all of you who have done that. Yeah, I had a fun time today. I enjoyed the new layout, my new place where I'm sitting, which is just like 4 feet away from where I used to be sitting, but feels different, but also better. Yeah, I think the cameras and stuff worked well, so that's cool. I will probably make a few more tweaks before next time, as is always the case, always trying to change and improve. So, but yeah, I enjoyed it, had fun. Here's a leg. And hope you guys all have a good day. I will see you next time.